It is between Ichinan High School and Matsuke's High School that the National High School football qualifiers are being played. Currently, the score is 0-1. Yoichi Isagi has the ball and is considering whether to pass or shoot. The target himself, he chooses to pass the ball to his teammate Tada, who fails to score. The opposing school is responding with Ryoshi Kira in the lead. He assisted is in scoring a goal, making the score 0-2, thereby giving his team the victory. Tada expresses regret to his team for missing the goal. During this time, Kira is being interviewed about his experience playing for Japan's under-18 national team. Kira responds that he has his sights set on winning the nationals with his team and explains that the reason for his success was having a dependable team. ECGs, the coach gave a closing address to his team. Totally devastated by the loss, the coach weeps as he counsels the team to remember the loss, but not to view it as meaningless, but rather to remember it. Then he declares that his team is still the best in Japan, despite the fact that in Isagi's mind, they fell short of qualifying for the nationals. ECG tells himself that he will never be a great hero like Noel Noah as he walks home from the game. He then recalls watching Noel Noah play as a child and being inspired by him to play football. He imagined what would have transpired had he kicked the ball and how his fate would have been altered. Then he tells himself that what-if scenarios are irrelevant in football, that they did not lose because he chose team play, and that football is a sport played by 11 individuals. He then yells and sobs because he desired to win. When Isagi returns home, his mother informs him that he received a letter from the Japan Football Association regarding a player development program. The following day, Isagi arrives at the Japan Football Union and meets Kira. Kira tells Isagi that he remembered the other because he was a good player with a good field perspective and a high football IQ. When they opened the door, they discovered that there were many other players waiting in the area. A man begins his speech by telling the players that they were chosen solely on his criteria, and then introduces himself as Ginpachi Igo, and his job is to make Japan a World Cup winning team. He stated that he will create the best striker in the world from among the 300 under-18 forwards he chose, and the Blue Lock facility was established to help him do so. He then declares that all players will live in the building and strictly adhere to his regimen, and that their careers are over. Igo goes on to say that whoever manages to defeat all 299 players and be the last one standing will become the best striker in the world. Kira, taken aback by what Igo said, responds that their current teams are their top priority, and he cannot accept the terms mentioned. The other players were all in agreement. Igo then responds by asking if they'd rather be a high school champion than the best striker in the world. He then tells the players that he is concerned about Japan's future. Japan may be the best in football organizational skills in their hands, but they are second best in everything else. Igo then questions the players about what football means to them. A sport in which you try to score goals in teams of 11 players and then realize you're wrong. He then explains that football is a sport about scoring goals, even if it means hurting your teammates. The most productive player is the one who scores the most goals. Kira responds by telling Igo that what he said was offensive. Honda, Kagawa, and others shaped Japan's national lineup, and the value of team play instilled in them is the same. Igo then mocks the mentioned players as part of a team that has yet to win a World Cup. He then mentions Noel Noah, Eric Cantona, and Pele as revolutionary strikers, but Japan lacks their extraordinary egoism. He then acts out a scenario in which all of Japan's hopes rest on their shoulders. He then tells them that if they want rebellious egoism, they should go through the gate. He then tells them that football is a sport where they can develop as strikers and have literally everyone rooting for them, and that they should throw away their common sense because they are a star in football. Izzy decides to pass through the gate after hearing Igo's words, which made him shiver. The other players also come through the gate hoping to be the best striker. Ezig is on his way to the Blue Lock facility by bus. They were given uniforms with a number and letter by Henri. Iseg is given the number 299 letter Z when they arrived. The letter Z denotes their respective rooms. Iseg then enters the facility and proceeds to his assigned room. When he opened the door, he discovered that it was a shared room. Kira screams. Isagi expresses his relief at seeing a familiar face. Then a shirt lands on Isagi's face. After removing it, the player apologizes to Isagi and warns him not to step on anything. Isagi then discovers a sleeping player on the ground. Isagi then puts on his uniform. A second-year forward named Gurumo Igarashi introduces himself to Isagi and Kira Igi. Rashi then tells them that he was born in a temple and made a promise with his grandfather that if he became a professional player, he would not inherit the temple. Igarashi admits that Igo's speech pumped him up. Following the conversation, Igo appears on a screen, stating that everyone in the room will be each other's roommates and rivals. He then reveals that the number attached represents their position among the 300 blue block players. Their ranking will change due to a variety of factors such as going up and down, training, or game results, and without reservation. The top 5 players will represent Japan's under-20 national team in the World Cup, while those who are eliminated will be permanently barred from the team. He then informs them that they are looking for Igo and that it will be measured in the facility. Igo then announces a game tag with a time limit of 136 seconds, and whoever is it when the timer runs out will be removed from the team first, which is Igarashi. Igo explains that tag is just one of many exercises prop players warm up with, and that the egoism test will provide great insight into selfishness behind the strikers. While Igarashi is in possession of the ball, the timer begins. A player asks him if he believes what Igo said about Japan's under-20 team. Igarashi responds that he isn't sure, but he will do it because if he loses, he will return to the temple and become a monk. Igarashi then decides to attack Isagi, who is only 1 rank higher than him, but Isagi avoids the attack. The other players flee. Kira then states that pros do not train like this, and that the reason he entered Blue Lock was to reject Igo's ideology. He goes on to say that staking their football careers on a 2-minute play of tag is a bad idea and that he cannot let his ego destroy his future. While listening to Kira's thoughts, Isagi considers his goal of escaping without being hit. While attempting to hit someone, Igarashi notices a sleeping person and decides to change his target. The player kicked Gurumo in the face after kicking the ball. Another player approaches the player and tells him that he despises dirty play and encourages him to play fair and square. The ball hit the player, who reveals to be Kunigami rank 291, and he is now the it. Igarashi uses Isagi to defend himself, which causes Isagi to be hit by the ball. There are only 1 minute and 3 seconds left. Isagi was the third one. Isagi then attacks, but he misses everyone. He decides to attack Igarashi, the lowest ranked player, after failing to hit anyone. There are only 50 seconds left. Isagi is still after Igarashi Isa. G has yet to hit anyone and tells himself that he does not want to end it this way and let his dream die. A player who hits Igarashi draws Isagi's attention while restraining Kunigami, allowing Isagi to attack Kunigami. Kunigami throws him while arm-locking him, causing him to hit Igarashi. Igarashi strained his foot after that hit and is unable to move. Kira then yells at Isagi, telling him to take the shot. Igarashi begs Isagi to spare him and apologizes for earlier aiming at Isagi. Isagi comes to a halt, considering his next move. If he tags Igarashi, he can win, but it will end Igarashi's career. He is unable to make a decision, but realizes that if he does not act, he will lose. In order for him to achieve his goals, he must destroy the goals of others. Isagi intends to kick the ball to Igarashi. There are only 15 seconds left. Isagi comes to a halt and decides to attack those in authority over him. Isagi decides to attack others after deciding to spare Igarashi. However, Meguro, rank 290, steals the ball from him. There are only 10 seconds left. He decides to pursue Kira. There are only 8 seconds left. Kira was able to avoid the attack. There are 7 seconds left. Meguro attacks Kira with his leg, but he also avoids it. There are only 5 seconds left. Kira flees, and Meguro hits the ball in Kira's direction with seconds remaining. The ball is heading in Isagi's direction. There are 3 seconds left. He kicks the ball while concentrating on the ball, and it hits Kira in the face. This brings the anime to a close. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and turn on the notification bell to never miss another one. Until the next time, take care.